Go. September 9th, 2025. Welcome to the BraveMaker Mastermind. This is Monday, and we have been consistently working with, at least the past month, special guests and speakers and webinar and lecture type things. So it's good for us to be able to have a moment to take a breath and catch up with each other. Marion is our first time joining. If you're watching on the replay, you can also, be prepared. I'll give an update about what's coming up in the month. We have a couple more moments or Zooms that'll be like this. We really want to make sure we're giving people space to talk about their goals, do some catch up, and give each other feedback, and also promote. I know we've got some things coming up, like Shauna's got a event coming up in the South Bay and fundraiser and that kind of stuff. So and it's nice that we're small enough today that we can chat a little more personally, give everybody 5 or 10 minutes to share a little update or share some work. But okay, cool. I am recording, and why don't we do this? Why don't we go around and everybody can do a couple minutes of just updating on your project. Marion, as a first timer, you should know we do these occasionally when we don't have guest speakers. We are kind of trying to track with each other about what projects we are working on and what goals you are trying to reach. So for instance, I am working on a feature that I declared in one of these Zooms that I would have my first draft done by the 1st of October. So I am very much aware of that and cranking and trying to get that first draft done of one of my next features. I'm also doing a table read this Friday of my animated feature film with Loretta Devine, which is very, very exciting. It's a holiday kids animated family movie called Mrs. Claus Secret Agent. So we're doing a table read on Friday, and some of you who've been a part of the masterminds for a while and the film festival know Lauren well. She has been consulting me on it. We've had a couple sessions to talk through. So I feel really good. I've had a couple eyes on it and done some polishing. So those are 2 updates personally for me on my project. The animated one, I am not intending to make it because animation is a lot of money. It takes a lot of time. I hope is to use it as a sample for literary reps. And I just made a connection to Pixar, which hopefully he will be on here someday. He's been on every single animated Pixar movie as an animator. So I gave it to him. Just, I don't think they're going to take it or buy it because they're very much internal, but just trying to see what I could do to move the project forward and get it into somebody's hands. If I could sell it, great, but if it could be a sample that somebody wants to pick me up for, I'm all good. So that's me, Tony Gaplestone. I'm currently in Redwood City living, but I'm in Burlingame hanging out. And my pronouns are he, him, his. So that's me. I did that in 2 minutes. All right, who wants to go next? Remember, keep your mute on when you are not chatting. I'll mute myself. Whoever wants to go next, just jump in. Take a few minutes.
I can go if no one's willing. Hello. Hi, Mary. Nice to meet you. My name is Olga, based in the Bay Area, Emerville, she, her. I'm a writer, producer, recently director, and I had a goal by the end of August this year, finish my feature script that I started in about May this year. And I was traveling, and I had new clients, and I had a lot of projects going on with my consulting gig, and I failed miserably. This is really just a public accountability statement. I did not finish my script by the end of August. It was my birthday as well, so it was kind of all over the place, and I did not have the time to really focus into it the way I wanted to. But now I have a new goal, end of this month, September. It's moving forward nicely. I have 40 pages, which is not bad, not good, but still the month is young. And my goal is to write 5 pages a day. I've done it before for a feature film. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be a final version, but it's really kind of get your first draft out. If you want to have 120 pages, 5 pages a day, that's what makes you closer to the goal, and it's completely doable. So that's my goal now, and to really get it done and then get polished and get feedback on. Otherwise, yes, a lot of things are moving forward related to writing and producing and such things, but this is all exciting. I think being accountable is a part of it. And being able to discuss openly with this group is also helpful because I will have questions for you guys later on if there's time. So just a disclaimer, but questions will be about structure and how to not get stuck in your storyline A and B, and then expand more to make it more accessible and relatable to most people. Thanks a lot. I will popcorn into Belgica.
Olga, before you go, was that your good was it that good
You're
luck
good
Gemini?
Gemini.
You're a good Gemini. You're a good Gemini. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and just keep this in mind as people do share their goals, their project titles, just even like logging them. Some of you I know take notes, but it's always great to remember, send a message. Don't forget, use the chat to put your URL of choice for social media so we can be following each other. And once in a while, just kind of ping Olga, like, how's it going with your good Gemini? Like those kind of things. Even if it never comes up on this Zoom, remember, our hope is that this is a creative support group to professionally encourage us to meet those goals. So, all right, Belgica.
Hi, my name is Belgica Rodriguez, and I'm an actor, YouTube content creator, and I really create on all of the platforms, but YouTube is which one I think my videos are really good, by the way. Can I just say that? I'm trying to be more confident. And I think my fucking videos, sorry if you don't like cussing, are really good on YouTube. Like the content that I make, the vlogs, like I put a lot of effort into it. And I don't think anybody is in the acting world in on YouTube is as consistent and as honest as I am. Because we see those sponsored videos and I will be sponsored eventually, but in my terms, hopefully. So me not being sponsored in almost all of my videos, I think provides an opportunity to be honest and actually give people good advice and my experience. Anyway, my projects, last time we checked in, I wanted to make acting more of a priority. And I think I've been doing a really good job. I'm starring in Bernadette the Brave, and I'm also one of the producers. And I've tried my best to delegate a lot of work so that I can focus on the acting. And then I got cast in a short film called The White Cube by Sam Hyatt. I don't know I feel like most of you either know him or will know him because his stories are really fun. He takes mundane things in life and puts a really fun twist to them. So this next one is going to be relatable to every single person. I don't care who you are. It's hilarious. And we, for Bernadette the Brave, we're like, I'm in charge of a lot of the fundraising, like events and posting on social media. We have a social media manager, but we are like really trying to get more money because right now we're doing it like bare bones, which is great. And then Shauna is going to talk about Three Wishes, so I'll let Shauna talk about that later. But I also starred in her short film, and we're doing a fundraiser not this Saturday, but next Saturday, because today's 9th. And I'm always auditioning and always super happy to find like new collaborators that I genuinely like. And I do want to continue to work on how to kindly tell people like, you are a great person. We are just not meant to work together. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that you're bad. It doesn't mean that I hate you. I just prefer not to. So that's something I'm working on as a super extrovert, that I love everybody. And just sometimes it's not good to say yes just because, you guys' life is really short. Start saying no more to things you really don't want to do. Then
Belgica, is that because you're seeing character and behavior that does not line up with your values? Or is it a combination of I'm not into the story, it doesn't really make me say hell yes? Can you say a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it's a combination of everything. It's just like one person, let's just put like a really, really simple example. One person might say, all you actors really need is water on set. You don't need caffeine. You don't need to have snacks, just like a little part of like the environment, the taking care of people. And then sometimes there's stories where I'm like, I don't know, that might get you canceled, or that's just not a belief I have, or your projects are just not at the level that I would love for them to be at because I've been acting for 16 years. Like sometimes I'm just like, you're going to be great. And I'm going to donate, $20 to your fundraiser, but right now I can't be part of it, So it's a combination of a lot of things. Sometimes it's location, like if it's hours and hours away and I just really don't want to have to drive home after set and be tired, sleepy as I'm driving, like it's just dangerous. But by the way, there's a lot of comments happening and
George over here
no,
and
but just
Gwen,
water. I'm
preach.
just saying like little things like that. Oh, like, just being more aware of people's well-being in general. I think that's coming as a producer too. But actors, we should always bring our own caffeine and snacks just in case. But it's just a lot of little things that I'm like, why do I need to say yes? And I'm
Right.
especially confronting this because I've been going to a lot of events and meeting a lot of people and deciding like, oh my gosh, who should I really engage with and really try and make something happen with? Because there's already so many amazing collaborators, but I don't want to stop myself from finding new people, But I think I've taken enough of your time. Thank you very much.
Oh, this is really good. I think all of us have to figure out our personal timeline and our creative timeline. And I'm finding too, there's so many opportunities. You have to say no. There's no possible, like, even if you're a raging extrovert in the Bay, there's a lot of things happening for filmmakers. There's mixers, and tonight there's a Punk Kids premiere, right? There's all these things, and you can't do everything. George is in Chicago. Like wherever you are in the creative community, there's always going to be things to do. And I think sometimes I have this, I don't know, I want to tell people like I am beyond that, and I don't mean to say it like in a snobby way, but this is just me, and I don't really mean any offense to anybody else, but I'm not doing any more 24, 48-hour film content. I am just not doing that. It takes too much of my time. I'm never really happy with it. But did I do it a lot in my 20s? Yeah, I did like 2 or 3 of them, in 1 year, and I learned a lot. And for someone else to do it, I think it's really good. Like I would say, do it. You should learn, especially if you're in your first 1 to 5 years of being a filmmaker or an actor. But me, I don't have that energy and capacity, and it's not something I would share with the world because it never turns out all that great because you're rushing to do something so quickly. So I think what I hear you saying is empowering, and good for you. We should bless you as you do that. Cool. Thanks, Belly. Yeah, and everybody else, please do use the chat because it's always encouraging. And because we're, a smaller group, we can be engaging and a little bit more interactive if you want. Donna says, I still have never done one of those. Doesn't mean you have to. Maybe you should try just to get it into your portfolio in some way to check that box. I have done it and it's good, All right. Who wants to go next? Marion, would you like to go? Go for it.
I would love to go. Well, thank you for Gwen for telling me about the group. I actually had gone to a lot of different conferences, and I was going to like Con and AFM and all that. And they're like, what, don't you have like a local group? And I'm like, I don't think so. I live in San Francisco. They're like, surely they have them in San Francisco. So sure enough, I look it up and you're having that mixer like that week. So I signed up on Eventbrite and I met Gwen and I met a whole bunch of other people. And I said, I'm just going to keep getting in community because I've only listened to one of your tapes so far. It was on branding. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you guys I watched the one on branding and you're like intimidatingly fabulous, the people in the class as well, not just Tony. And when I was hearing these people share their brand, I'm like, okay. And I just heard this today. Okay. So I was like, oh my God, I'm excited about these people. So this is going to be really rusty, but basically I am a former baby boomer looking for a new tribe because I've given up on them. I just like enthusiasm. I like fun. I like new things. I'm a doctor and I turned filmmaker, but I was a motivational speaker and I'm also a dancer. I do 34 kinds of dance and I am a dance evangelist. I try to bring it to sick people, depressed people. I try to bring it to people on the street. I'll start dancing with people in other countries. One of my bucket list things, I want to dance with people in every country to their folk dance because I want to also be a dance ambassador because it's the way to communicate with people where you just feel like each other's vibe and you feel that spirit inside of you that's common to everyone. So when I heard him saying he used to be an evangelical, I'm like, maybe I should become an evangelical minister instead, and I'll make everyone get up and dance. Like, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be writing films. But then I'm like, well, I can put that in my film. But that, so anyway, back to my, so anyway, I'm half Iranian also, like Shauna, and I'm half wild redhead from Texas, who was raised, she was raised as an evangelical Southern Baptist, but she broke the mold completely. She's one of the characters in my first screenplay is based on her. She's a wild woman. I've married the same man twice. And after the second time, I was so depressed and so devastated that I just wasted my whole life with a lying cheater that I ran away from home, literally. And we had to move to San Francisco from LA. And I completely reinvented myself, including like I let it all go. I'm like, he did the best he could. I thanked him for like the 17 years that were great. I didn't mention all the other years that weren't so great, but I literally transformed myself. In fact, I just did the Moth the other night, and it was about comebacks. And I had such a good time because I was talking about how delicious my life is now, and it's crazily delicious. And this is after I went through like severe refractory depression. Like someone mentioned mental health challenges in their speech. I had ketamine IVs for that, and one of the side effects of that was not only did I get rid of my painful childhood, one of the treatments and other traumas, but I also got rid of 17 years of chronic pain. Just it's gone. And so I get to live my life in a joyous, free body as well. And it's amazing. I never thought I'd get rid of it. So it's like I'm very spiritual. I always believe my higher power is directing me. It was funny. I was at Hollywood Pitch Fest pitching, and I was in line with all these people, and they're like, I'm Christians. How could you be doing a movie with so much sex in it? And I go, well, that's how my higher power likes to express as me. And I've got a great agent. And they're like, who is your agent? And I go, God. And I'm not kidding you. Like, I sit down, my God is funny, fun, sexy, and bold. Okay. And a very good writer too, better than me. I just sit down and go, okay, my prayers are like, just sit your ass down and start typing. You don't have any excuses today. And I'm like, okay. So it's like, it's just this amazing spiritual path I've had. I'm a 12-stepper. I started in Al-Anon and Love Addicts Anonymous. I tried to get in AA, but I couldn't hold my alcohol or drugs. And I had been married so long, I couldn't get into Sex Addicts Anonymous because I wasn't promiscuous enough. So anyway, I got into SAD fellowships where you have to like try to recover from other people, but it worked. And now I'm like super happy. I wrote my first feature screenplay. It's a rom-com. I have 4 producers and 3 managers asked me for the script when I was at Hollywood Pitch Fest in August. So they have it. And I'm sitting here going, well, I hope it's good enough. In the meantime, I'm getting like professional readers again to read for me. And if anybody else wants to read it, it's about a divorcee who catches her husband strangled by a waitress from their favorite restaurant. And after the divorce, she decides she's going to avoid love and make up for 30 years of lost time by online dating much younger men and discovering a new sex positive lifestyle. So it's based on a true story that I had no idea was going to happen. My higher power is very generous in these regards and also helps me screen my dates. So I've had some amazing experiences. I have great characters in there. I actually interviewed a lot of the men I dated and said, what would you like men to know from this movie? What do you want women to know about men? And so I just had like the most, I feel like an anthropologist myself. My protagonist is a cultural anthropology professor, and she gets into it by asking all these questions and starts trying all this kinky shit. And she finds out that was all inside of her from the beginning. Like she said, every man opens up a new world to me. And one of the men said, well, don't give him so much credit. I think all those worlds were inside of you already, just waiting to be opened. And so I said, that's actually true. So that's me.
Welcome, Marion. Thanks for telling us. And we can tell you listen to the branding thing. There's some fun branding pitches in there, which is great. Awesome. So thank you. If anybody wants to offer to read Marion's scripts, DM her in this space and share some notes. I am working on getting Cody Smart from Next Level Screenwriting to come and drop in to talk about coverage and what it looks like to work with a script doctor in that way. So awesome. Good work, Marion. Thank you. All right, who's next?
Good. If anyone wants the names of any of the people I've used, I highly recommend some of them. So I'm happy if anyone wants to send me I'll put my email in the chat too.
Yeah, do it. All right, who wants to give us an update next? Welcome, Figo. Hi, and Stacy. Tell us what you're working on. Give us an update on your project. We're doing reports. And we also have time at some point to, if anybody wants to show a few pages or anything, or get some feedback on anything you're working on creatively. But who has not done an update yet?
I can go.
Go ahead, George. Hi.
So yeah, I am developing a feature right now that I pitched at BraveMaker, and I feel really good with the script. We just had a table read, I believe 3 weeks ago, just to like iron out small details. But the main thing, a buddy of mine who works in Amazon in the development department, she did some script notes for me, and she was like, "I think it's ready. I think you have a perspective, so go for it." So right now, it's like I have my cast, top billing cast secure with letters of intent. Got some locations. Now we're just focusing on how to package it to angel investors. It's different. Like there's not a lot of infrastructure here in Chicago. So like where there might be grants or stuff like that, I'm really focusing on angel investors. So that is what we're developing right now, fleshing out our investor packet that we use for a lab here to just have like all the numbers and like ROIs and stuff in that like that. So yeah, that's what I'm working on, focusing on that. Hopefully, potentially, no, we're gonna do it next year. I'm just gonna believe that we're gonna do it next fall. Don't know how we're gonna get 250,000, but you know, other people are making their features in the city and they are finding ways to get investors. So why not me? And at the same time, I'm developing the next feature because that's one thing that I've heard from producers in Chicago and LA. It's just like when you have one feature done, just have the second one ready, just in case someone wants to make that one too. So yeah, that's what I am, juggling the business aspect of one feature and the beginning stages of a rewrite of a feature. So yeah.
And George, you sent me the script, so thank you. Is that the most updated one? And what would be the most
No,
helpful? Okay, why don't you send me the most updated one? Because I would love to take a peek through it and chat about anything that comes up with that, but also knowing like, you know, you're our second place winner for the Continue On grant, but we
yeah,
obviously want to see these films be made. So I'll be thinking from a BraveMaker perspective, what we can do or how we can help you. And I also think it would be interesting to see your materials as another way for all of us to learn how you are pitching and what you are doing to get that information out there. So when those are ready to share, please bring them here. That would be awesome.
yeah, I have a meeting with my co-writer tomorrow to finish like one bit of dialogue. So originally, I think the script I sent you was like 93 pages. Now it's like a hard like 89 and a half.
Okay.
And we have like, so we applied for the Chicago International Exchange Lab. They have a feature film lab, which extends a year. So I have that document, so I can send you both of those tomorrow, and then we can
Great.
talk about it and hear everyone's perspective. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, George. Cool. Great, thanks. All right, who else is up? And while we're doing that, I'll just say, part of our hope too is as we grow the Monday mastermind, Olga's also very intentional about behind the scenes and working and getting up our past archived videos and webinars. So like the Tristan Schuler one is the one that Marion was referring to. That was one of our very first ones. It's in the archive document. If you're not familiar with how to access that, I will let you know. But if you've never missed one, like there's a few people who are, not here today, you can always go back to the Google Doc and watch and rewatch any of those videos because it's really good content. And Olga's trying to find a way we can grow that and then package it and allow people to buy it one-off, access it to keep BraveMaker afloat. But once we hit 20 members on Monday, we will then try to start another Zoom creative group throughout the week. We're thinking it would be on a weeknight at some point. We don't know yet, but we'll find a facilitator for that. And that will still be a part of the same package. So whatever you pay monthly will never change, by the way. So prices will go up to 120 in January. You'll always still pay 99 or whatever you pay. And you will have access to all of the things that we create. So the goal is, my dream eventually, to have a Zoom every single day of the week that people could drop into. People could look on a schedule and go, oh, this is happening. Or it's feedback, or it's a table read, or it's just a check-in. Like these are what we're hoping to do every single day of the week at some point in the future. All right, who's next?
Well, you guys are so fabulous
No,
that I was supposed to leave for Paris, and I changed my plan so I could be to your thing and meet you guys on the 27th. So
Right on. That's
I'll leave in the
awesome.
morning. It's worth waiting for a few more days.
Oh, that's great. Right on, Marion. All right, who wants to do the next one? Go ahead,
I'll
Shauna.
share.
I
Oh,
can go next.
You're after
Good
Figo. You'll
morning,
be next.
y'all.
all right.
Good morning, y'all. Nice to meet you, Marion. Wow, what a story. Like, as you were talking, I couldn't help but think you should make that into a documentary. Just adventures of your life, or like all of your like stories sound like they could make into a really cool, powerful documentary. So yeah, anyway, I'm Shauna. I am a writer and director. I like telling comedies and feel-good stories about women, the LGBTQ community, and other underlooked groups. A couple of things that I am working on right now is finishing my current film, Three Wishes, which is a comedy film Tony produced and Belgica starred in. It was amazing to work with them both, and we created movie magic, and it was really great. And I'm also finalizing planning a fun fundraiser mixer and screening event for both the film and for the local Bay Area film and creative community to just connect people. And so that has been taking a lot of my focus the last couple of months, so I haven't had as much time as I would like to focus on looking at, you know, the rough cut of the film and finishing it, but it is in very good shape, and we're almost to the finish line for completing the film. I think all we need really is like some fine-tuning and some special effects editing. And my goal is to have it finished completely by the end of the month, late September, so I can start submitting it places. I'm just waiting on a little bit more funding to be able to do that. Thank you, Tony. Yeah, this is the promo flyer for the event, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. There's gonna be live comedy. We're gonna screen either the trailer of the film or a clip from the film, and then a couple other short films by some people on the team, including Tony. One of his films will be shown. And we're gonna have a raffle with lots of really cool special raffle items. So hopefully it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be in downtown San Jose. If y'all want to come and you're free, feel free. And another small goal of mine that I'm just starting to get to is starting work on one of my next ideas, which is a indie bookstore mockumentary comedy series. Kind of like in the vein of like The Office and Abbott Elementary. It's just meant to be like a fun, lighthearted story about an independent bookstore trying to make it in a county where, you know, reading our books isn't really like prioritized, and so they're the only indie bookstore in the county, and so they're just trying to stay afloat. And then shenanigans happen, of course. So I'm very excited about that. It's in the very, very early stages of like outlining and fleshing out characters and like what the overview is gonna be of the whole series, but I'm pretty excited about it. And that's me.
Awesome. You can also come to the 21st and see our very own Olga doing some stand-up comedy. Hey. So come out and support on the 21st. Shauna, do you have, it's not on Eventbrite anymore. Do you have the link you want to put in the chat?
Yeah, I'm getting it right now. It's
Beautiful.
now on RSVP5.
It's already in the chat.
Oh, awesome. It's already in the chat. Oh, of course, Olga. Thank you so much. Olga did it.
Oh,
All right, great.
Thank you. I didn't see that. Thanks, Olga.
Great. And we also have a really fun behind the scenes video that I made. I'll put it in the chat too, so anybody who wants to watch Belgica and Shauna
Yes,
at
put
work,
in the
you
chat.
can watch. I will. Cool. Thanks, Shauna. All right, who's up next? Give us an update. Go ahead, Figo.
How's it going, everyone? My name is Figo. I am a creative director, artist for this artist collective Lyrical Opposition. We're all based out here in the Bay Area, and artists from Oakland, Richmond, just across the Bay, just like a lot of us here across the Bay. And I had the opportunity to connect with Tony through our documentary featured Regentrification, which I'm hoping by November, it's officially living somewhere. We'll find out. Finally in talks about that. So it's been a little over 2 years of different festivals and screenings, and we finally wanted to have it be available for everyone to stream and whatnot. And then that led to the short film opportunity, which I got to pitch at the festival, and for a film actually based on experience as a 17-year-old that I had here in San Francisco Mission District, and it's titled DeVille. It's been it was like we shot it in a week pretty much, and really it's a passion project, as you guys know. That's a hustle and getting people behind it, but super grateful for the team that we were able to bring together. And I finally got an editor's cut from our amazing director of photography and editor, Desiree LaCapture. And you guys go check out her work. She's doing really cool stuff now with like Adobe and Sony and stuff. And but yeah, it was just like seeing now her cut and now me getting to make my notes, and we're in that part of the process right now. So this Wednesday, I'm meeting with an assistant editor to finally kind of sprinkle in some of those scenes that weren't used and stuff like that. So yeah, and then we have a website for it. So shameless promo, devillemovie.com. If you guys jump on there, we do want people to sign up to our emailing list so we could update folks as we have the screenings and things of that nature. And Tony would love to talk to you about opportunity and collaborating that, doing like some private screenings and stuff like that as we get to that part. But yeah, thank you. That's pretty much what I'm working on right now. And yeah, that's us right there. Sign up to the newsletter. And yeah, I'm like walking around at every mixer with like the QR code and just having folks sign up. That's me I was like 14 there. And yeah, it was my friend Alvin, who's a character in the film. And I actually had to reconnect with my friend Alvin and be like, hey man, are you okay if I write this story? And he laughed about it, and that's our social media. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for pulling it up.
Cool,
Yeah,
Figo. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Great looking stuff. I love these
yeah.
images. So these creative vibes are definitely hitting for me. This is great.
Right on. Yeah, we're trying to really capture the nostalgia of like, placing your DVD and going through the menu and the backdrop of those early 2000s, the MySpace.
Yeah, have you seen Dee?
Yeah, it's funny. So I watched Dee shortly after seeing it. I'm like, oh my God, all these parallels and like damn near. Yeah, it was wild. So it's cool to see that millennial stories are being told right now too. I think that's something we were discussing. We're like the nostalgia around that. So yeah. Yeah, excited for you guys to see this piece. I could talk about it more. You said Dee and you're gonna like start the wheels turning, but yeah, I want to pass the mic, but thanks for sharing.
Congrats.
Can I
That's
say
awesome.
something really quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
A tip, like an epiphany tip thing that I had. So we made buttons. One of our amazing assistant directors made a button for our series Bernadette the Brave. So we will wear them because you were saying you go to events, and I feel like a lot of us do. We'll wear them to events, and sometimes we forget to talk about it because we're so enthralled in the conversation with the new people that you're meeting. And having a button, you guys, everybody's like, hey, I've seen that button a few times today. Like, what is this project? So just like, please take that, copy the idea that my amazing AD had. It's like such a great way to get people talking about your project, even when maybe you forgot, like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be talking about this today, but it's such a forgotten thing, buttons, because I always have my QR code too, but
yeah,
I share that.
That's a good point. And next thing you know, they're asking like, oh, where can I get one of those? And yeah, it's a good point.
And they're so cheap. You can get like 25 for like $9 on those certain places. Which reminds me, I just got some places in Sundance and Park City. So if anybody's interested to go, it is through January 22nd to the 27th. We're gonna go for like the first 6 days. This is the first half of Sundance. This is where Dee came from last year. If anybody wants to go, let me know. We have some rooms available, and it's pricey. Portion expensive to go, but we're gonna go. Anybody wants to go, let me know. Who's up? Who's up? Who's up? Go ahead, Stacey. Hi.
Hey everyone. So I had COVID last week, so I'm just getting together. But
And you were supposed to be in Paris too. You were supposed to be, right?
Yeah, so last Monday I was supposed to fly out, and that's when I tested positive at the hospital. So it's all good. It's happened for a reason, and I'm very thankful despite. But my producer, so I was going to Paris for two reasons. One, for a screenwriting retreat, and also to location scout for a film that I'm going to be filming there in November. So my producer was still able to go, and she did a customized tour with a local Parisian to, we're filming at a cafe. So she took her to 7 cafes, and the last one that the tour guide took her to was beautiful and free. Like, how is that? Yeah. So we got a location. So everything that I wanted to do when I was there, the producer was able to do. So that worked out. Yeah. Okay. So I went to 3 mixers the week before. So that's how I got COVID. So I'm not going to be going to many mixers. I just need to slow down anyway. But I was thankful for the ones that I went to. One of them was a tech event. And George, I was able to pitch to 5 investors, a group of investors. It was a private pitch. So it was my first time pitching to investors. And a lot of investors are actually on LinkedIn. George, we can talk separately if you want, but they asked me, like, I don't know if all pitches are like that, like this, but one person wanted to know how much I intend the film to make. So George, you mentioned the ROI, and it's like, I said 376,000. I said 300,000, and that's based on another film, but it's like they're investors, so they know it's risky and there's no guarantees. So I'm like, why do I even need to give you a number? Like, I get it, but it's just dumb to me. But anyway, so I based that off of a film called Rob Peace that was at San Francisco Film Festival this year. Most people haven't heard of it. It had an $11 million budget. The stars were Chiwetel Ejiofor and Mary J. Blige. Those are Oscar-winning actors, and or I'm sorry, Oscar nominated. And that film only raised 376,000. So I told the investors this, and then one was like, "Oh, well, then that's a loss." And I'm like, "Well, no, I'm trying to show you that even with an $11 million budget, they still only made 376. So with my films, you should be okay investing." Because anyway, so I pitched them a trilogy, my documentary, and then a trilogy of narrative fiction films. So 4 films at the same time. I pitched 60,000. I was asking for 15,000 for each of the trilogies, and then 15 for the documentary. I know that's not much, but I was just trying to keep it low. Someone that pitched after me said that he didn't give them a number when he pitched, and because they didn't ask him the questions that they asked me. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have given them a number. And just, left it wide open. So this morning I had already emailed them after the pitch to thank them, but this morning I emailed them the pitch decks for each. So I'm not hopeful, but it was a good experience.
Stacey, do you think you were the only filmmaker pitching in that space, or were there other people pitching creative projects?
That's a good point too. I don't think these in particular investors have experience with films, but one other person was into film. He didn't pitch his projects, but he pitched an idea of a website that has different locations in Oakland where you can rent. So it was the website idea that he pitched. But yeah, I think I was the only one that pitched actual films.
I met with one of the guys, Prakash, afterwards. He's one of the founders of Next Door. We had coffee last week in San Francisco. He was one of the main speakers there. And I was chatting him up about you, Stacey, and just talking about how bold it was, I thought, of you to go into that space and do it. I think regardless of what happened, it's good practice. It's a really good practice to pitch. And I was just saying, my experiences in Silicon Valley, people do not know how to invest in film. They don't get it. They're like, they want to invest. They'll invest millions of dollars in an app that'll go away in 6 months or a year, or a startup where they spend millions of dollars, and all of a sudden, 2 or 3 years, it does not exist. But to invest in a film that empowers makers and gives creative people jobs and has a lasting product. Like, films never go away. They're just always, you have a story on film. Yes, a streamer might die, but those investors cannot see that. They don't see it. It's so tough to break into that. And this guy was like, yeah, man, people are spending around millions of dollars in those innovative spaces to create AI things, and it's a different world right now. Yeah. Olga says, it's all about ROI and what's in it for me. Projections can be so volatile. No one knows 100%. Yeah. Yeah, we need to talk. Maybe that's a good. And I'm always looking for more topics for our podcast, but also for these sessions too. So maybe we can get somebody to come and talk to us about the pitching, about the making. If you don't know Jim Cummings, I would encourage you all to follow him on all the places. He's on IG. I think he's at Jimmy C. That's me. But I talked with him last week. That's me, because I invited him to be one of our VIP honorees next year. He won Sundance, he won South by, but he's totally going like outside of the studio system and doing the WeFunder thing. And he is basically living off of this independent model of making his own content and stuff. And I think that's going to be more and more what we're seeing, the box office. Which I want to say something at the end of this that I don't have on the recording. So maybe we'll end 2 or 3 minutes early, stop the recording. And I want to say one thing about money things that I don't want to be recorded on here forever. All right, George, you got your hand up. You want to say something?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, Stacy, you should definitely talk, because that was the main thing that I pitched with a recent investor, a lawyer, and he was very resistant about like imaginary numbers. So we changed our whole pitch deck to really show what ifs based off of the comps and figuring out what would the return of investment be based off of our own self-distribution or forewalling, stuff like that. So I would love to talk to you about it, because some investors just want to be sold on the story, but some people, because it is money, they want to have some sense of confidence that they'll get something back. So yeah, I would love to like share ideas on that.
Yeah, and I mean, the amount that I pitched to them was not much. So it's really like not much to them anyway. So that's why I was like, it really doesn't matter. Like it's just formalities that I think they're asking, and they wanted the marketing and distribution plan, which I gave them. I thought about, and it was a good plan, but they're like, well, how can we ensure that this film's going to sell? We can't. Like, this is a plan. What are you talking about? So I didn't tell them that, but I'm just like, oh yeah, da, 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 da. But I was just like, maybe I don't need to do investing. It's not really me anyway. Like, my films are going to happen regardless. But so I didn't need this opportunity. Again, it was just like to see, but just the premise, like, I'm pitching to you, you have the money. It's not a big deal. You know the cause behind it. Like, it's a positive mission. So anyway.
Stacey, I'm reading in between the lines a little bit. Do you feel a little frustrated with the disconnection with causes and money and people who have the ability to make an impact? Is that a little bit of like kind of a frustration sorts here?
Yeah, I mean, like, and my documentary, like, that's about a mom who was jailed for enrolling her kids into her father's school district. Like, and these were all Black tech, investors. Many of them were in the same situation themselves. So it's just like, this is no money to you at all. Like, you invest in health, Medicare, medical, real estate, all this other stuff. I'm just like, what's the big deal? That's why, like I said, I kept the dollar amount low, and I can make a film with $15,000, like a feature, literally. And they were like, well, how can you go to Paris and do that? I'm like, I budgeted it all out. It's fine. We're good. But they're like, that does it. I'm like, no, I got the budget. I mean, the budget is detailed with all the amounts and you can see it can be done. So it's cool.
I hear this burden. I feel you. Like there's so much money and support and potential resources out there, but people to like be moved, and you have to work so hard to move them. It's like to get their heart, to emotionally capture their pocketbook, their Venmo, whatever it takes. It feels like it just takes so much work, and it can be so discouraging. But yeah, I echo Shauna. I love the sentiment that my films are going to be made regardless. Bitch, it's like I was like, dang, people just will look at you and not care, or it seems like they don't care. It's really hard, y'all. So keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. I know this is not an easy business. We do it because we love it. So keep going. Look to support each other. Thanks, Stacey. Gwen, we know you got something to speak out in this thing too. Go for it.
Hey, everyone. So thank you for giving me a great segue there, Stacey, because fundraising, I think it's in the month since we talked, I think my goal was fundraising for my short, with the goal of filming it in November. And so my project is an impact filmmaking project. So to me, it makes so much sense to go to the companies who serve the people that this film is intended to help. And it's been an amazing experience, because I can't tell you how many, like 100 people have told me, this is so important. I'm so glad you're doing this. This is amazing. I can't give you any money. And these are, these are big companies and small companies. It's really been interesting. So my goal was to fund it exclusively with corporate donations and public grants. That was my goal. And that wasn't working out. And just as I was starting to get pretty down on that, just to turn it around and give you some hope, I had been talking with some friends of mine about this process, right? And never with any intention that they would give me any money, but just talking with them as a friend, like, this is what I'm going through. And I've talked to these companies, and I've talked to those companies, and week after week. And just a week or so ago, some of them came to me and said, hey, we want to patronize the arts, and we want to help you. And this is meaningful, and we want to help you get this made. So as of now, what I have is like a pledge for the money for at least the shoot itself, right? So principal photography. And that's been just such an incredible experience for me to have, to have people believe in me and believe in the concept. And I feel like that's great. Like, let's get the principal photography done, because, and actually one of the people said, he's in tech, and he said, you can't sell something unless you have it already. Like, that's the irony, right? He's like, you can't raise money for something until you have something to show people. So go make something to show people, and then you can make money on, then you can raise money for it, which was like, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. But so have some faith, that there are people who will finally help you, right? You just keep, and it's not necessarily about asking, it's about talking about it with passion, and talking about it with joy and love. And so anyway, so that's been my experience in the last month. And so what happened was, I was spending like 95% of my time on fundraising, phone calls and emails and research on who to pitch to. And now that it's really switched, and I'm spending like 80% of my time on pre-production, because all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, like, this is really happening, in 2 months. I have a shoot date in November. And so I'm still keeping some of my time with fundraising, because I don't want that to stop, because once it's filmed, I want to be able to do the post on it. But it's definitely the focus has really shifted. And I find myself dealing with a lot of imposter phenomenon at this point, right? Because I feel like I'm learning the things I need to know, literally like right before I need to know them. And I'm just running as fast as I can, and trying to keep up with that. So putting together a crew, I have a couple of people who will help me in the producing and an AD department, and I'm interviewing cinematographers and also casting at the same time. Working on putting together a table read, hopefully, Tony, for the 30th of September. We might do a table read here at Mastermind. And that's about it. One thing that I've noticed in this process is that the pre-production is it's also logistics oriented, that I think a couple of you talked about, like having your next thing lined up. And I really miss, I've realized like how much I miss writing every day, because I'm spending all my time on the logistics of making something that I've written already. And so working on trying to find little pockets of time to actually be creative rather than logistical. Because otherwise I think I might lose my freaking mind.
Oh my gosh, yeah, exactly. Like how much I could be actually creating if I had the time would be like, but you have to spend so much time trying to get the funds and trying to work to stay afloat. It's a lot. Yeah, that's so good. Good. Thank you for sharing. So yeah, I will put you down for the table read on that date. And let me quickly go over, but yeah, one more thing to say. Go ahead.
Sorry, one more short thing is I'm going to put in the chat the name of an organization that gives grants for creatives only. And they have a quick grant that they do monthly. It's up to $600. And I did it, it was on my Instagram. I did it for 6 months of Mastermind membership. All their grants are for creatives only. And a lot of it is professional development. And they turned it around in a couple of weeks. I got $594 to do 6 months of Mastermind. So
That's what Stacy did too. Stacy's
Yeah, CCI, yep.
yeah,
And
Center for
yeah.
Cultural Innovation. Yeah, and they're super. I don't know. I think their programs are amazing. So definitely check them out.
And the deadline's coming up on the 15th.
Yeah, every month on the 15th they have a quick grant application that opens, and then you hear within, I don't know, what was it for you, Stacy? 3 weeks or something ridiculous? A month maybe.
Yeah, or less. Yeah.
all right, cool. In our remaining couple minutes, I'll just do a review of what's coming up. By the way, if you have not reserved your ticket, remember you get free tickets for the mixer. I know, Marion, you tried to do it, so we'll refund your money. You just end up paying, but you should be able to get a free ticket with the code that you get in your email for the mixer on the 27th. So I'm going to put that in the chat. And let's just, if you would even do it right now, just try, and please let me know if it does not work. It should be working. I'm trying to remember what it is. I believe it's Member Me 2024. I'm going to put it in the chat. I'll also put the link in there as well. So their code is Member Me is capitalized. And I'll put the links to the mixer. This is going to be a coffee bar in Redwood City on a Friday night. We usually don't do Friday night mixers, but we're going to try it because then we're going to encourage people to go watch a movie together or do something afterward. Remember Me 2024. It's free the 27th on a Friday night as part of your membership perks in this group. So please check that out. Okay, then coming up, we have a lot of things to look forward to. So next week, I'm just going to pull up my internal schedule, but you also get an email with these as well that looks a little bit more fancier than this. So next week we have Leah Knauer, who is going to be here. Leah Knauer is a comedian, social media influencer. She's going to do social media analysis for all of us, take a look at our social media and say, here's like 2 things, 3 things you can do to improve. We did a workshop, and I think Gwen attributes her to actually getting onto Instagram and being inspired to get on social media. So she'll talk to us about being a presence on the socials to advance our career. I'm looking at bringing a script doctor on the 23rd. Gwen, you just said you'll do a table read on the 30th. We have Julie Dove, who's an actor. She's been on all sorts of things recently. The Lady in the Lake. She's been on. She's a super soap opera fan, so she loves soap operas and has been on soaps. It's kind of fun. So we'll have her chatting about just auditioning and working with directors and producers. We have more table reads in October with Tamika. Tamika won our pitch grant for her Faith Under Fire short film. She's going to have some of her actors to do a table read, and it's great experience if you've never done a table read to kind of see how it's run, and then we'll also give her feedback to make her short better as a pitch winner. We also have a strategy session about film festivals with the director of film festivals from New York Academy, sorry, New York Academy or University of New York, I forget. That's my bad. But Cricket Rumley is her name, and we will talk about just being intentional with when you finish a short or a feature or whatever project. You know, obviously I'm a short film or I'm a filmmaker, and you are all part of the BraveMaker Film Fest in some way, so you know a little bit of the ins and outs. But Cricket has sort of like a international strategy and perspective that she will chat about. So we'll have her. So be a part of that. I know we just hit the hour, but I'll take one more minute. I'm going to stop the recording. Everybody's watching on the replay. Keep creating, keep making. Remember, brave stories change the world, and you are the story.